Leicester make progress into round 5 by hitting 5. I asked you at the start of the day, Matt, if this was a potential banana skin. You never gave me the impression you were too concerned, and now we know why.
No, and Leicester showed respect for Peterborough before the game, and Peterborough will have respect for Leicester after the game, won't they? Because pretty comprehensive from start to finish. Once that first goal went in from Diabate, Peterborough were at 6s and 7s defensively, loose in midfield and defence, and they never really got to grips with it. They got the goal back in the second half, but even then, it was only a mere blip, really.
Is that illustrative, Trevor, of the gap between the Premier League now and the lower leagues, 1 and 2 particularly, now bigger than it's ever been?
Yes, it is. The squads are so much stronger, of course, in the Premier League, but I think some of those Leicester players had something to prove to the manager today, and one or two of them took real advantage of the ability to be playing a full 90 minutes, or at least a good part of the game. And the game was really won and lost in the first 12 minutes.
Has Claude Puel unearthed a gem in Fousseyni Diabate?
I think so, by the looks of it. I mean, he's quick, he's sharp, and this is a finish that you won't see many players capable of doing. And this is his debut. His confidence has been is really high, so credit him for that.
I tell you, he reminds me a little bit of Wilfried Zaha. A little bit.
Yes.
A little bit. That might be a little bit early, a little bit premature, but he's got that stance about him. He can accelerate from a standing position very quickly.
Yeah. He's very light. He's got no weight on him.
Yeah.
Looks very athletic, and certainly likes to break the back line of any defence.
Can he get into Claude Puel's first team on a regular basis?
Performances like that, he can certainly push for it, yeah. And, ever-growing number of quality players. And, again, it is very early, but they've obviously seen something in him, and I thought he was really impressive today.
Is he a replacement for Riyad Mahrez?
That's what people are worried about, yeah. Leicester supporters will be too scared to ask that question. You've asked it. The likelihood is, I think they will be exploring that possibility. The owners, stroke manager at Leicester, they'll be looking for someone. They're looking for how life is going to be without Riyad Mahrez, because I think he will go at some stage, most likely at the end of the season.
What's the consensus in and around the club about how important he is? And it seems as if his behaviour is fully professional, he's committed, and when he's on the field, but you get the impression he is starting to itch for a move to a bigger club.
Well, people have been saying that for a little while, really, ever since they won the title. Every manager that has been there with him under their jurisdiction has always spoke highly of him, so he's applied himself well in training, not just in games. I think there was an inevitable lull after that magnificent season he had in the last campaign. He's back to somewhere near his form that he showed then, and he is a top quality player. He does things that other players don't even think about. It's just providing consistency to his game, and will he be able to adapt into another team, say
Arsenal, Liverpool, the two that have been strong in it, haven't they?
I think he will. I think he's one of those players that plays with even better players. He'll excel even more.
That said, Trevor, life after Mahrez looks quite rosy if this is anything to go on.
Well, Leicester City have done really well in recruitment, haven't they? With Steve Walsh, who was involved heavily with the signing of Mahrez and Vardy, I suppose, and several others. He's gone on to Everton, but it looks like Leicester have continued in the same vein and been able to dip into particularly the French leagues and the lower leagues at that, to find potential. And that's really what you want, or a club certainly like Leicester, is get them in cheap, give them opportunity.
Hungry, is that the key?
With being hungry, but having that room for development, stepping up into a bigger club, which Leicester are. But then Leicester will be a stepping stone club. There will be a selling club onto the big clubs, and Mahrez is probably going to go that way in the near future.
Is that better for Leicester if you go and buy a hungry player like a Diabate who's come in with something to prove, as opposed to maybe a Slimani who's came from Portugal, almost a finished article with nothing to prove?
Well, yeah, good question. I think Trevor's right when he says Leicester have done well in recruitment, but there have also been a few blips along the way. The likes of Slimani, Musa, Ulloa to a lesser extent, and one or two other. Ben Luan, who played today, but doesn't regularly feature. So, but they get a lot of them correctly. Yeah, I think each case is different, isn't it? But yeah, there is scope to develop those players for a club like Leicester, yeah. And they're not really going to attract, even if the finances were there, one of the very top players. If you've got an option of Man City, Chelsea or Leicester, you're not going to Leicester too often, are you? So they have to face reality and make a good job of it.
The reality is, though, Leicester hit 5 today. They're through to round 5 of this season's FA Cup. Let's just